loves, how's it going? It's Olivia, and today I kind of wanted to just sit down with you guys and talk about a topic that a lot of you have been asking about, and this is how to stop overeating. And I think everyone at some point in their lives has dealt with overeating. For some of us, it's a little bit tougher than others because we're constantly dealing with it. I wanted to share my experience with this as well as the things that I've learned along the way. So this is my 3 steps to combat overeating, and I hope that it helps you guys out. So if you're excited for this video, give it a thumbs up and let's get into it. Step number 1 is, before you do anything else, figure out what is causing you to overeat. And this can be anything from being bored, to stressed out, to emotionally eating, to being in social settings where everyone else is eating. Even simple things like, are you sleeping enough? And a lot of people think that it's not important to get enough sleep, but actually it is, because when you don't, your hormones become imbalanced. What it basically does is creates this cycle where you feel like you're constantly craving and constantly hungry. So you eat a lot. At the same time, your body's chemistry is not telling you that you're full. So both of those things are working against you, and therefore you end up overeating a lot. Another thing, of course, is, are you drinking enough water? There are times where we think we're hungry, but actually we're thirsty. So for me in general, my entire life, I've had a really difficult relationship with food. And I say that because I've always found comfort in eating. I know that's also why I ended up just kind of losing myself in all of that. And I ended up gaining so much weight from it. And then I had to go on a 100-pound weight loss journey. It's one of those things that is really difficult to deal with because you have to eat to live. Whether I was having a bad day, whether I was bored and I had no one to hang out with, I would just eat chips or binge out on pizza and watch movies by myself. Or if I was really stressed out because I had a lot of stuff going on during the week and things just weren't going the way that I had planned, and I just found so much comfort in eating. It wasn't even necessarily just what I was eating, it was more just the process of eating, and somehow just like the more food I ate and the more my belly felt full, the more I felt like, I don't know, almost like a hug from the inside, as weird and crazy as that sounds, but it almost felt like food was hugging me from the inside. And of course, afterwards, I would feel horrible and guilty and felt like, oh wow, like that was not good. But during the time that it was happening, I just always felt that food was there for me. I think for the majority of my life, that's how I felt. And I still have moments where I'm stressed out and all I want to do is just eat, because that's what I'm used to. And so I think pinpointing what it is about your life and coming to terms with it, about why and the reasons behind why you're overeating, is the first step. Because if you don't know why, or you don't want to accept why, then you can't move on to fixing it. Step number 2 is how to combat it. So first of all, I really recommend that you figure out what your triggers are. So for me, I can't buy big bags of chips. If I know that I'm going to eat an entire bag of chips, then I'm just not going to buy the chips, so that I can prevent myself from obviously overeating on chips because they won't be there. Or what I'll do is I'll buy smaller bags of chips, or I'll just get myself 1 serving of chips instead of eating out of the bag. So these little tiny things that you think are really insignificant actually matter, because when it comes down to it, it's a very mental thing. Understanding what really triggers you and what creates that environment for overeating. Sometimes for me, it can also be being in a situation where there's just endless amounts of food. So if there's a party or a get-together and just like piles of junk foods. And I know for some people, it's just sugary sweets, cupcakes, ice cream, brownie, and that sort of thing. Those are really big triggers for them. And the reason why also is because sugar is addictive, and so are things that are high in fat as well as salt. And what ends up happening is your body gets accustomed to having it, and it just wants more and more and more. And I did make a video on how to deal with sugar cravings, and I'll link that in the description box below if you guys want to check that out after. But what I really recommend is just for you to slowly wean yourself off of it. So instead of eating 1 entire cupcake in a sitting, maybe have a fourth of a cupcake, have a bite, and then come back to it later. And just, allow yourself to indulge, but not overindulge, because the last thing you want to do is go and restrict yourself. I'm a firm believer that restrictions do not work, and one of the reasons that people overeat so much is because of restrictions. And telling yourself, oh, I can't eat that because of this, or I'm on this diet, so that's not going to work. Stop differentiating good food and bad food. And I think a lot of you know that what I do is I eat healthy about 80 to 90% of the time, and the rest of the time I just let myself off the hook. If you do need help with intuitive eating, I have a book that I do recommend. It's called Intuitive Eating, and I'll link that in the description box below, as well as another book called Brain Over Binge. So if you're having trouble with any of that, those books really help out. Both of them I will link down in the description box, so you guys can go check them out if you want to. Things to keep in mind is eat when you're hungry. We eat out of pleasure. We eat because we feel like it, not because we're actually hungry. So really focus on trying to eat only when you're hungry, and also stop eating when you're full. One of the things that has helped me a lot is understanding when I'm satisfied. And I think a lot of people, even me when I was overeating, never understood this concept. And what it is basically when you are satisfied with eating something, then you don't want any more of it. And how you get to that point is to really enjoy your food. This sounds crazy because most people are like, oh, I enjoy my food. Do you though? Like, do you enjoy it, or do you inhale it and you just like the process of eating? Because for me, it was enjoying the process of eating, not actually enjoying what I was eating. In my family, we have a lot of people who are just naturally stick skinny, and that's how they've been their whole lives. What I've noticed about what they do, and there's also this BBC documentary that I watched on this, and if I can find it, I'll also link that in the description box below for you guys. People who are naturally skinny, they tend to be on a routine. As in, they have to eat meals at a certain time of day or after a certain amount of hours, and their body is just so in tune with that if they don't, they end up getting really cranky. But at the same time, once they're full, they stop eating. And the other thing I've noticed is they only eat foods that they enjoy. In research, they've shown that these types of people also have a better trigger in their brain. Basically, they hit a wall once they're full. A lot of us have hurdled over this wall so many times that the wall almost does not exist. When you are eating, you also want to savor what you're eating. A lot of the times, because we're socializing or because there are other things distracting us, like the television. So when you are eating, be mindful of what you're eating. Smell it, taste it. Maybe in your head, even think of 5 different adjectives to describe what you're eating. Oh, it's nutty and sweet and juicy and crunchy and tender, and just, be really present when you're eating. And you'll notice when you do that, you'll become satisfied much quicker. Some other little tips is just always have healthy snacks with you. I think sometimes for me, I overeat at a meal because I've gone too long without eating, and then I feel like I'm starving, and then I just eat a crazy amount really fast. And I used to even set alarms for every 2 hours, and I would just eat every 2 hours. This really helps your blood sugar levels, it helps your metabolism, you're constantly fueling your body, so you never overeat because you're constantly feeling like, wow, food is coming. Anything that you could eat and keep your blood sugar levels balanced out, as well as not getting to the point where you're just completely ravished and gonna eat the entire pantry, is gonna help that much more with your overeating. And the third and final step is to leave room for mistakes. And I think this one is so important because I feel like even with my journey, I was always just really hard on myself, and the harder I was on myself, the less I was able to keep just a good routine going. And I think a lot of us deal with that, where we get so in our head about it. Oh man, I messed up today, so I'm just gonna throw the whole day away. Or, oh man, I can't get over how much I overate the other day. That was crazy. Now I have to exercise for 6 hours. And going back and forth like that just doesn't work. you have to forgive yourself. We're always going to be making mistakes. It's always a learning process, and we're just on this journey to just continually get better. And it's not about being perfect. It's just about being better than what you were yesterday. And even for me, I'm still making mistakes. I've learned through my journey to forgive myself, because dwelling on it doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it go away. And once you move past it, then, only then, will you be able to better yourself. And when it comes to overeating, I mean, it's going to happen, especially if you have a history with it. It's going to happen. And the hardest part is just mental. So leave room for mistakes. Forgive yourself. Love yourself. Understand that it's okay. You know, we're gonna screw up. It's life. There's obstacles, there's lessons to be learned, and there's always gonna be a new curveball and a new mountain to climb. So it's okay. So those are my 3 steps on how to stop overeating. And if you guys found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. That's great feedback for me, and that also lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos. If you guys have a minute, it would mean the world to me if you commented below and let me know what you thought of this video, as well as what other topics you would like me to talk about. I've been thinking about doing calorie counting or dealing with bloating. So if you're on team how to calorie count or a team how to reduce belly bloat, comment below and let me know that you're on those teams. Or if you're rooting for a completely different team, let me know what that is too, because getting your feedback really helps me create these types of videos, and I love keeping the conversation going and just helping you guys out with what you really need the most help with, because as I'm learning, I'm sharing with you guys, and as you guys are learning, you're sharing with me as well, and it's just this amazing process, and I feel so incredibly lucky to be able to share this part of my life with you guys, and you guys doing the same. I appreciate you guys so much. We have now hit over 50,000 subscribers, which is crazy. So you guys are my loves. I love you all so much. Like, you guys don't understand. You just mean the world to me, whether you are commenting here or on Instagram or on any of my other social medias and just interacting with me. You really make my day all the time, and I hope that I can do the same for you. I think that about wraps it up for this video. If you haven't checked out some of my other videos, you can check them out right here, as well as subscribe to my channel down below. If you're on a mobile device, everything will be linked in the description box below, as well as if you're on the computer and you want to know more about anything I mentioned in this video, all of the links will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and it just means the world to me. I can't even thank you guys enough. Alright, so until our next video, don't forget to do everything with love, and I will see you guys soon.